so Amar of Yosef, we're on Ted Amud base. Pesach Pasuk Masati, you lose the Ketuva. Amar of Yosef. My Kamashma, what's the Chiddush Tanina? We have a Mishma. Ha'icha Etzel Chamiv Yehuda. So this is going on a few Mishnahs in the future. If you eat by your father-in-law in Yehuda, Shalom Ba'edim. Now, basically, we've explained already that you kind of go into Yichud when you're in Yehuda, and that this is because the Hegmon is going to come to the Basulim, so you have Yichud with the woman beforehand, so she's not a Basula anymore, and by the time the guy comes for the wedding, she's not a Basula, so therefore you kind of solve the problem. So in Yehuda, they are with their father-in-law. It means that they're in Yichud with their kalas Shalom Ba'edim. There's no Edim there. Eino Yechol Etoin Tanis Basulim. Then you can't have a Tanis Basulim Mipnei Shemityachid Imo, because you had Yichud with it. So once you're in Yichud with it, therefore there's no more Tanis Basulim. Now, there's a bit of a maklokas here, Rashi Toisvis. So, Yehuda hu l'dol mati toyin. So in Yehuda, they can't make the taina of. Anyway, it says tanis besulim. What exactly is that tanis besulim? But in Yehuda, you don't have the tanis besulim because you had yechid. Haba Galil, or really anywhere else. Galil is it's like the Galil, basically north of. You have Yehuda, Galil, and over Yarden. So Galil is kind of north of Israel. Haba Galil, you do have the taina of Basulim. So therefore, Vilamai. So what is this? What is this taina that you're making? Ila asra alav. So if it's shavi nafshe chaticha b'asura b'Yehuda amaylo. So for sure in Yehuda, where you're saying now, even though there's a chazaka that you had bia with this woman, you're coming and saying that she didn't have Basulim. You're like, well, you had the bia. No, I didn't. So there, he's bori that she's also to him. Therefore, in Yehuda for sure, that she becomes a chaticha d'asura to him. So therefore, in Yehuda, even though they had yichud together, why is he not believed to make her also to him? Eilelav lahasira kesuva. Therefore, for sure, we're talking about that making them lose the kesuva. V'tekatoin tainus mai. What is the taina? My lab dekatoin tainus pesach v'suach. That is the tainus b'sulim. That is pesach v'suach. No, it's tainus damim. It's the tainus of damim. Since it's damim, therefore that's the chiddush of Shmuel, that with the pesach v'suach, you can get your kesuva. So the guy can make her lose the kesuva with a tainus pesach v'suach. Now, in this idea of my lav dekatoy and tainus pesach v'suach mitzati, so there's no edim b'davar. Toisvis asks in a Toisvis, why did we not ask? He should have brought from the Mishnah Besula Almana Min Erison. So here it Davka says it could be over there that she gets the Kesuva of 200 because it's Edim, whereas here Davka says below Edim. This is why we are. So there's no Edim on the Yichud, so that you are. Shalo ba'edim, you're etzel chameh b'Yehuda shalo ba'edim, so you're in Yechud, but there's no edim there. So, that's our case. There's no edim b'davar, and therefore it's a tainus. It's not a tainus muchachas. Ela aleya samchina. We believe him. Damrin ilav de kushto hu abilo hayim afsez sudaso. So we've said this before. The idea of he's got a chazaka that he's telling the truth because he's paid all this money for the sudas and suyin. He doesn't want to lose his suda. And if he hated her at the beginning, he would just do gerushin, and he wouldn't be toirech with the suda of nesuyin. So therefore, you just megaresh her from kedushin, and then you don't bother the whole nesuyin thing, and then try to get out of paying the kesuva. And also with the kesuva, if she says that I was, it's a case later on that after. We got married after we had kedushin. I was ma'anis. There she's believed, so she still gets her kesuva. So trying the trick doesn't necessarily work. So here Rashi says something a bit weird here. Mihu be Yehuda lo mehemnin, but he's not believed in Yehuda. Why not? Shema Baal Biyamei Erusin. Maybe he had Bia with her during the days of Erusin v'shachach, and he forgot all about it. That's a bit of a strange case which he's having there. Or ha'ara bo. So ha'ara bo is that he doesn't do a proper Bia. They're just kind of touching the pieces. Mitoch chivta, because they're kind of making out in the room. V'lo yada sheshiver basule. So he didn't go all the way in. So he broke the basulim, but he didn't know that he broke the basulim. So he tied his pesach basuach, even though he did it, but he didn't know he did it because yes, they were messing around. But as far as he was concerned, he didn't break the basulim. Now here again in the shachach, they're in yichud and they're doing stuff in yichud. So I don't know how far this shachar also could be 12 months they're doing it. This shachar is still difficult there. But basically in Yehuda he's not believed with the Tanis Pesach Basuach because you see Rashi has his Shema, and that Shema is that maybe it's like a suffix that they did it. And Tosfos here is a big point in the Tosfos. Maybe she's believed in it. Now Tosfos is going to go on her. She's believed in Yehuda. Loimer Shapa Aleya Be'erusin. So if she says that he came, so Tosfos is going to learn not that it's Shema that he came on her, but that Vadai he came on her. So there's a chazaka. They went into Yichud and he had Bia with her. That's a chazaka here. So therefore, Tosfos asks that maybe that she is believed in Yehuda, but she's not believed in Galil, because in Galil she says that it was that my husband had Bia with me. She's believed in Yehuda. She's not believed in Galil for obvious reasons. In Yehuda they're in Yichud and they're expected to have Bia, and in Galil they're not. So Yishlamar de Mashmalei de Ena Yachol Letoin Tainus Basulim Bechol Inyan Bain Oimurim Shabbat Alei Menasurim Bain Shomer Petachnol Matzah. So it's Mashma lei. So it's Mashma. It's in Yehuda. You can't make the taina of Basulim in any manner. When it says that you can't make the taina Basulim in Yehuda, that's in Bechol Inyan. Whether she says that he did it from the Yisurin, whether he says Pesach Noel Matzah. Yehuda Nemes Bemigu. So here there's a she is believed with a migu de boy Amra be'irusin ba aleya, and not in Galil Deleka migu. So Tosfos is saying that in Yehuda she gets her kesuva because she has a migu. And again here, it's a migu. I know we said before it's not a migu lahoitzi, but we're going to get back to that. I'm going to say it is a migu lahoitzi. And so therefore Tosfos is saying that she has this migu to be moitzi, the kesuva, from the guy in Yehuda, but she doesn't have a migu lahoitzi in Galil. Is that clear? That's what Tosfos is saying here.
Sorry. So what is the migu lahotzi versus not?
That in Yehuda she gets the kesuva, and he's not believed to say Pesach Pasuach. But in Galil he is believed to say Pesach Pasuach, and she loses her kesuva. Therefore, why is she getting the kesuva in Yehuda? Because she has a migu of maybe he came on me after.
Got you. So maybe they had relations while they were secluded in Yehuda, and so that's why.
It's not maybe they had relations. She when she says, so again she says I'm a basula. Then her migu is I could have said that he came on me, or she's believed to say that, or so she gets a migu. Whatever she said, basically she gets a migu of saying that I can that she can taina that her husband came upon, and therefore she gets and
she could have tained it.
Well, that's what a migu is, yeah. So but she gets the kesuva because of the migu.
Got it.
But in Galil, there's you don't have that migu of saying, because if she says that my husband came on me, So therefore she's believed. When she says my husband came on me in Galil, she's not believed. Therefore in Yehuda she gets the migu and she gets the kesuva. Now,
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Now in shores, if we have here and this tais is here, the hooray migu b'makim chazaka. Lekach nira de havi migu b'makim chazaka de ein adam torech besuda umafsida. So she doesn't get this. So ein ze migu de ein rotze lehafsid klum because vasa mikum akom ne'amenes b'migu de iboy amra moichach eitzani v'nisach d'sheded lekach nira de havi migu b'makim chazaka de ein adam torech besuda. So therefore her migu of her migu lo dekan tanis dam. When it comes to damim, all of a sudden she doesn't have a migu, and she loses her kesuva. Because what we're saying in the Gemara here is that why is it not that she's saying pesach pesuach? No, and that she loses her kesuva is pesach pesuach. We say no, it's a tanis damim, and therefore she loses her kesuva for instead of the chiddush of Shmuel is on pesach pesuach. But here we're saying that there's a difference between Yehuda and Galil only with Tainus Damim. Now, why is so Taisus is saying that? So why does she lose her kesuva for Tainus Damim? He says because it's a migu b'makom chazaka, and the chazaka is that the man won't be torech in his suda. Again, the idea of that he's making the suda and he's marrying her, and therefore
so he's not going to spend time and money to build this suda for her.
So therefore she doesn't get her kesuva. So here in the bottom Tosfos he says that in mikim makim chazaka we don't say, and in this first Tosfos he says that she gets a mikim makim chazaka. So it's a mamash stira between these two. She got a migu here and she ain't got a migu here. So if you take your time, look through, you'll see better. This is so I want to answer that the migu, there's a special koach of a migu called the migu to iboy shasik. That if you don't, usually a migu you have to make a taina. But if you have a migu that I didn't have to say anything, believe me, I'm telling the truth, because if I was a liar, I didn't have to say anything. So that in Yehuda, the guy comes and says Pesach Pesuach Matzati. The Beis Din knows, the Beis Din don't believe him and says, well, you made the Pesach Pesuach. Now in Rashi it's a Shema, but Tosfos is learning that it's a Chazaka, that the Baal, and she's expected to have a Pesach Pesuach because we're expecting the Baal to have Bia before Nesuyin. Therefore, after Nesuyin to say Pesach Pesuach Matzati, there's a Chazaka that he did it. So therefore, she doesn't even have to tie anything. And therefore, that's called a migu to iboy shasik. A migu to iboy shasik is a stronger migu because she doesn't have to say anything. But in the case of Tainus Damim, she needs to say something, and therefore she doesn't get a migu to boy shasik. So therefore, that migu is a lower level, is a lower strength migu, and therefore that migu is a mokum chazaka, and therefore it doesn't bring out. Now,
just a quick question: the bia that we're assuming that they have, or that there's a chazaka that they have in Yehuda, is this bia nus, or is this like, because it's not bia for the sake of
it's bia without a kesuva. But that's the best that they can do because of the problems of Rome.
But it's not accomplishing like Nisuit, right? It's not like this bia isn't for the sake of marrying.
Well, we went through some of those shitas on Daf Ches.
Right.
But for now that it's not the Nisuyin of what the Suda is for. The Nisuyin that's in the Mishnah. It's right. It's even if it is Nesuyin, it's something that's called. We had there without bracha. What was the bracha of the chasanim? Right. So they have they have the birchas chasanim. But the Nesuyin, whatever.
But so it's also like he's boiled her in Yehuda during Eresin, and he's not going to make a claim of Pesach Pesuach there.
He's boiled her during the kedushin. No, he makes it on Nesuyin we're talking about here. That in the Tanis Pesuach.
That's what I'm saying. He only makes the claim of Pesach Pesuach
after Nesuyin,
even though he had relations. after Kedushin.
No, that's
and there's
why.
possibility
But
for
that's
that.
what. But that's what the. No, that's Rashi saying maybe he forgot. But that's the whole thing.
Okay.
It says why? Because they had Yechud. That's what the whole Mishnah is saying. That's the whole point of the Mishnah. So therefore, Tosis is learning as a Vadai Chazaka, and Rashi is learning it as a Shema. So with the Chazaka, you have a Migu Di Boishasik, which you don't get in Galil and the Muka 8 and with the Damim and that whole thing. Now over here it says that so Tosis can't use the Migu in order to be Moitzi. Migu Lohoitzi. He calls it here. Iyamrin Migu b'makam Chazaka or Lo Shema Chazaka Dahaka Adifa. So if we don't say it's a maklokas, if we say migu lohoitzi, so Tosis is calling this a migu lohoitzi. So this would be keneged the shev shmaisa, which you said before, that the woman is already has a tefisa in the kesuva, and therefore she's not being moitzi. So in order to answer that, we say that here we're danning on whether she actually there is a kesuva b'chlal, and that she's muchzak in the kesuva once there's a psaka that there is a kesuva. But here, if it's a mechel, therefore there's no kesuva lemafreya, and therefore she can't be muchzak in that kesuva, because if it's a mechel then there is no kesuva for her to be muchzak in. Once there is a kesuva ba'ain, then she can be muchzak. Then she can be muchzak in that. But here we're still deciding, we're still psaking as to whether the kesuva or not, and therefore here it's not called that she's muchzak. But once there,
what was the scenario again where it's mechaktos? Is that where she's had a relationship?
So mechaktos, yeah, mechaktos will be pesach basul kosati or
gotcha.
Tainis basul. So it marmar of Nachman Amar Shmuel Mishom Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Chachamim teknu lehem levanos Yisrael lebesula me'atayim v'lamana mana. So here's the Ketuva, and now we're saying that this Kloimer I have a Ketuva deraisa lo have a neman lafkia. So that we're saying that this idea of Pesach Pesach Metzati would not be enough to be mafsed the Ketuva if the Ketuva is deraisa. You need a dos yodua, so you need edus. You need proper edus because there's a chov. If it's the raisa, the chov is a proper chov, like a whole va or whatever, and just like a whole va, once you have you need edim in order to makayim. Although kesuva chachamim tiknu, the chachamim were matakin it, and they said it. So therefore, since they said that you have to pay, they said that you can pesach b'tzuach is good. So chacham tiknu lahem levnos yisrael levsulam matayim lamana mana vehem heimunu. And they also said, just like they said that he's chayev, they also said that he's believed. Shemamar pesach pesuch metzati's ne'emon. Therefore, this is why he loses she loses the kesuva, because the chachamim in the takana were metaking the pesach pesuch as well. Again, we don't have pesach pesuch today because our kedushin and our nesuyin are at the same time. So if we lose the whole, because she was mizana lo tachtav. So imkain ma ho'ilu chachamim b'takantam. So therefore, what did it help? Now, we have to see what did it help. Shedekanu la kesuva. That since, so how are they benefiting benos Yisrael if the guy can just get out of it and just say pesach pesuk masati, and then no one gets a kesuva. Amarava chazaka ein adam torech besuda umafsida. So this is the chazaka we were looking for. So ein lechush shitan adam kach. So a guy's not going to make this katana kadeh. He's not making this time of pesach pesuch misati just stam in order to get out of some money which he's trying to get out of. Ela be'emes, he's only going to make it with an emes. So therefore, that the chachamim, because of this chazaka, the chachamim gave a level of ne'emanas, and he's not going to kadi just make the women lose their kesuva. She'im hayas soineatak mitchila. Lo haya torech v'suda v'konsa. Because if he did just hate her and didn't want to get any money, he would have just gone this whole thing. Mafsid sudaso chinam eila haya megarasha mitchila. He wouldn't just lose this whole pay for a wedding. Yeah, weddings are expensive business back then as well.
Does this also go back on to what we were talking about yesterday or Sunday in terms of the amount of money that he's spending on the Suda versus like
so we had a shaila as to whether we say that it's is it only a case of where the wedding is more expensive than the kesuva, Or can you say again? You could say that she she has a taina in her back pocket of I after I was engaged, I was ma'anes, and your field got flooded, and she's believed with that taina. Therefore, if she makes that taina, then he loses the kesuva. He has to pay her. Now, even in the case of where the Suda is cheaper than the Kesuva, if the Suda is cheaper than the Kesuva, then he'll be like, I'll spend $100 on the Suda and I'll save $1,000 on the Kesuva. It's still not necessarily a good idea, because if she tainas that I was raped after I got engaged, then he loses the he loses the Suda and he loses the Kesuva. So he should just not have the Suda. Now, the problem with that Shita is that he's making it up. In this whole thing, he's making it up, and Shitaka is a Basula. So why is she going to come to Beis Din and say that I was, after we got engaged, I was Ma'anis? Why would she say that if she's Taka Basula? So, L'chaira, either since he's a liar, he thinks that she's going to lie against him, or that he's a liar, and then so she doesn't trust him, and she goes to the rabbi, and the rabbi says, "Oh, make this time and get your kesuva." But Mistama, she's taka basula, and he's lying, and therefore she wouldn't necessarily make that time. But because of all this, he has a chazaka. They telling the truth, and therefore the chachamim gave a kesuva, and he also gave a taina of pesach basula, because there's a chazaka that it's emes. Tana huel v'kanas chachamim hu lo tikba ela min ziburis. So here we have the idea of that there's three. So it's a UO. So it's gonna be, we're gonna see in the psukim here, that's 50 shekel. There's 4 zuz to a shekel. Therefore, it's 200 zuz. That's a stam basula, or that's the deraisa. Oh, we'll see that. That's the kesuva. Kesuva is 200 zuz. Now, the guy has fields. He has good fields, he has bad fields, and he has medium fields. 200 zuz of the bad fields is a large field because it doesn't produce much. Or it's bad for other reasons, but a simple reason why it's bad is because it doesn't produce much. Therefore, you get a lot of land, but it's not very good. So it'd be like, let's say you have an apartment in New York, you have an apartment in LA, and you have an apartment in Iowa. So they can all be worth the same amount. They can all be worth 200 zuz. So in New York, you get a cupboard. In LA, you get a studio. And in Iowa, you get a ranch. Now, they're all worth the same amount. But even though New York is tiny, since it's so valuable out there, so therefore it's on a high level. So the ziburis is that the chachamim were metaken. Therefore, she collects from the ziburis. She collects from Iowa, and you can't force a guy to sell his New York or LA apartment. Now they said because it's a kanas. Now if it was deraisa, she'd have to pay like a balchov, whatever the dinim of the balchov. I think balchov is the beinunis. The chachamim. So kansa, my kanasa. What is this kanasa? Why are you saying that the chachamim were kanasin? It says that they were that it's a toiv, that they did it to kana for the Benos Yisrael, and now we're saying that we're kanasin the Baal. So since it's not deraisa, therefore you collect from the ziburis and not the medium. Now here the Yaiva says that we're explaining what the kanas is. It's still a kanas. The kanas is that if there is no kesuva, so then anytime a guy wants a new wife, he just divorces his wife and goes with the next woman he sees, and therefore you don't take the marriage seriously, or that it's that the marriage itself is just a check in, check out edifice. So therefore the chachamim, in order for it to be something of value of time, that it's something that that takes time, and you don't just chop and change. Therefore, they can ask him and made it difficult for him to divorce his wife. If he wanted to divorce his wife, then he would have to pay up, and then the paying up will make him not just jump on the next girl to pass through time. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel Omer Kesuvas Isha Min Torah. So Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, he was saying that it's deraisa. Since it's deraisa, then a Pesach Pasuk Mitzati is Eino Ne'emon. And at this stage, you're collecting from the medium, which you'll have to see. And there's other nafkaminas also when you have a suffix on the Ketuva. So if it's deraisa, then you have to pay. Umir Mar Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel Hachi, did he say this? Vatanya Kesav Yeshol Kamoyher Ha Besulus. Now here we have the case of the oinus and the mefata. Now there's not much difference between the oinus and the mefata, but there's you pay tsar. You pay tsar if for the oinus, and you don't pay tsar for the mefata. There's also dinim about getting married. But if the mefata, if the father won't give the woman to be married, then he pays the kanas of 50. Now here it says kesef yakshul, that this is the kanas of the mefata, k'moihir besulus. And this lashon of moihir besulus is said by the oinus, and oinus pays 50 shekel. So it never says how much the kanas for a mefata is, but it said kesef yakshul. So therefore the mefata, this pasuk is the mefata pays kesef, but like the moher besulas. So zeh is the mefata is like the oines 50 shekel, and the oines is like the mefata. Here's kesef, davka kesef. Rashi here says umah kesef oimer kan shekalim de yikshol. So this is kesef yikshul. It has to be kesef in the shekalim. Af lehalen by oines shekalim. You have to pay the fine in shekalim. The lo tema mos and not in mos. She yezekim of umar mekan. So this mekan, since moiher loshin moiher is like a nedunya, and nedunya is the payment you give for the getting married, the dowry. Zeh kemoiher habesulus. Sorry, mekan samcho chachamim lo kesuvas isha min Torah. So here that you have that again the mefata and the oines is that they get the kanas of the mefata and the oines is the makor for kesuva in the Torah, and that's 50 shekel. 50 shekel is 200 zuz. So therefore the only deraisa kesuva will be for besula, because an alman is 100 zuz, and if it's deraisa, for sure be 50 zuz. So an almana kesuva is not min deraisa, even if you hold that the kesuva is deraisa. But Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says kesuva isha eino me divrei Torah. But he says that the kesuva isha is not deraisa. Ele me divrei soifrim. So how can you say we said above the Rabbi Shimon Gamliel said it's deraisa? So ipuch. See that it's the Tanakama says that it's derebanan and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Umay chazis the ipuch basraisa ipuch kamaisa. Why are you flipping the first one? Why are you flipping the second one? Flip the first one. Ha shemina leilam Gamliel to Amar Kesuvas Isha midiraisa, because we've learned elsewhere that Rabbi Shimon Gamliel holds that it's deraisa. Therefore we flip where he says it's derebanan. Ditna, we have a mission. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel oimer noiten la mamos kaputikia. So what is, you give her the money of kaputikia? So Rashi says Beker Basra Tana Nasa Isha Be'eretz Yisrael Begersha Pakotia Noitin Lamamos Eretz Yisrael Shehen Kolos, because it's spent well. It's money that's easy to spend. Nasa Isha Bekaputka Begersha Be'eretz Yisrael Noitin Lamamos Eretz Yisrael. Minayin hakosov ksuva to azlina lakula, because we go lakula. Rishim Gamliel noitin lama mos kaputaka shenishbot behen. Kashar malva. See kashar malva. So in the second case, when you marry the woman in kaputika, then you're meshubah to her in kaputika, and therefore since wherever if you do the malva, if you do the loan in a town, therefore the money of that town is what you're meshubah in. and therefore, since the Ketuva is like a halva deraisa, because there's a hekesh in the Torah how it's all learned out, so therefore he's holding it's like a halva, and therefore you have to give the money of kaputika because that's where you signed the Ketuva, and since you signed the Ketuva there, it's like a proper halva, and you have to pay with that money. So therefore, we see that he's holding it's deraisa, and you can't be makel with it. The boy saying you have a second teres kula Rabbi Shimon Gamliel he v'chasri mechasra v'haki katani mikan samchu chachamim lekesuvas isha mitaraisa kesuvas almana eino. So therefore, so you get the 50 shekel is the besula. Kesuvas almana eino midivrei Torah ele midivrei seifrim, but the almana is the rabbanon. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel oimer kesuva almana eino midivrei Torah ele midivrei seifrim, and that's a chashuv schara in this case, so we don't ipuch. So we're putting it in here. Kesuva isha kesef mikan samchol chamna kesuva isha min Torah, and then we say, but the almana is the rabbanan because the almana is divrei seifrim. Yeah, so Tosfos up here, a mashmit the cost of the rabbanon became by Rava lecheva omer Rabbi Tin the samchin Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. So Rabbeinu Tam is saying that the Ketuva is deraisa. So making the Perek Basra Maisi lenami. So Tosfos opens up and says that the Ketuva is the rabbanon. The Stamada Shah Sovet Ketuva Rabbanan. Because here's a kasha. Nahoku lichtov b'kesuva kesef zuzi me'atan dachazu lichei midaraisa. So since it says in our kesuvas that it's kesef zuzi me'atan 200 zuz dachazu lichei midaraisa. This chazu midaraisa. So it seems to be that what it says in our kesuva that it's deraisa. Rabbeinu Tam says that Ataka is deraisa, as he says here. Now, here the Ritva says Ilkach Roy Lektov Benochsa Kesuva Dechazu Lechi Midrabanan. So here, so the Ritva holds that it's a Rabbanan. He goes in kind of like the beginning of Tosfos saying that Kesuva is the Rabbanan. So therefore, you have to say in your Kesuva Chazu Lechi Midrabanan. Inami Dechazu Lechi Belachud. Just leave it. It's written. It's the text.
It's the surah at the moment that we're dealing with.
It's the Ketuva. It's the Ketuva. I'm saying the text of the Ketuva that we use. The im kosvu the chazi lechem midiraisa like Tosfos efshar leimer delis like Ketuva cloud. Also lahashota that you've screwed up your whole Ketuva. That since it's a Ketuva Rabbanan, you said it was deraisa, you've screwed up your Ketuva and forget about it. It's no good. So then he gives away to Mataretz. Ketiv ki mistama lo niskaven hashavas below Ketuva. Mistama, you're not trying to have it without a Ketuva. Ela liafos is koicha. That you put the word deraisa in there in order to give her better koyach kamar shetikba mimeno kesef zuzi masam dechazule min deraisa. That you're not giving her any 200 coins. You're giving her 200 coins that are chazi deraisa that have like a value deraisa. Like it's not token money. It's actual money. So if you give her 50 coins of or 50 or actual 50 shekels of silver. Yeah, so here's the Sefaria. They say this Rabbinical Council of America. Dechazi lechi kesef zuze dechazi lechi. We don't say deraisa there. This is the Chabad again. Kesef zuze dechazi lechi. So Tosfos seems to have this this girsa of deraisa in his Ketuva, but seems to be like what the Ritva is saying here. The chazi lechi belachud. So the text is going more like the idea that Ketuva is the Rabbanan. But you can have a look. It could be I don't know if but that's do something different in Jerusalem. So Hahu data lekamei Rav Nachman. This guy comes before Rav Nachman. Amarle pesach b'such mitzati. So she should lose the kesuva. Amarle Rav Nachman asfuru kofri. Just get makus with palm branches because they've got nettles on them to give the guy makus. Now, mivrachta chavitale. Rashi that the zonus, the zonus, the zonas, as in English would be zona, the prostitutes of this city, and its name is mirbachta. They were lying down Talmud before him for znus, since that he's a baki in Pesach Pesuach. So how can he come and say Pesach Pesuach mitzati if he's a bacher and therefore has he knowable this, so therefore give him makos for having znus? Rav Nachman hu damar mehemnin. Rav Nachman said that he's believed to make her lose the kesuva. He says, yeah, he's believed and give him makos. Rav Achai Meshani, but there's a second teretz. Rav Achai gives a second teretz. Kam bebocher, kam benusoi. So Rashi explains bebocher lo mehemnin umasvinin le. So he gets makos, but he's not believed. Al she me'ez paniv. Because why is he getting makos? He getting makos for me'ez paniv. Toysus argues on what he's getting makos for. Nosoi mehemnin velo masvinin le kufri. The married woman, the married guy, says Pesach B'Sod, he's believed, he's already been married, and therefore he doesn't get makos. Now, Toysus says, Perish al-kuluhu shemoitzi shemra al bas Yisrael sheharei meshaker. So there's different reasons for why. So that the bocher gets makos because he is meshaker when he says Pesach Pesuach, because he's not a baki. So again, the chayr here meshaker is that he's telling a lie. So it's not that he's maybe making a mistake. He's like a lion. Whereas Rashi the chayr maybe he's making a mistake, but he's panav, so he gets makos there. Hahu data lekamed Ram Gamliel comes from Gamliel and he says to him Pesach Pesuk Mitzati Amrlei Shema Chatita. Maybe you did a tia, so since you did a tia, it's open on the side of hatia, and that you're not going to find a closed mokum. So in the blackness and the darkness of night. And then he comes to his door, and there's something in the way of the door is stuck, and if he moves the door, he can find it open, or if he comes from the side of the blockage, you find the door open. Lo hati, if he comes straight on, then he can't get past the thing that's blocking his way. So therefore, since he came from the angle, therefore he found a pesach besuach. Ikata amri hachi amar le shema b'meizid hatita. So the ikata amri that for somebody to find for someone to do hatia without kavana is not shchiach. This is what he says from shema b'meizid hatita. Maybe you did b'meizid, and therefore you remove the door and the bolt. Therefore you tuck it out when you did your hatia, and that's why you didn't find. That's why you found it open, but you removed the besulim with it. Shem l'chamashul, it's like a man that's walking in the darkness of night, and then if he comes to b'meizid, he finds it open, and if he doesn't do b'meizid, then he's just going to be stuck. He can't get past. How that like made Ram Gamliel bar Rebbe Amar Le Rebbe Ba'alti v'lo matzati dam. He says I didn't find blood. Amra lo Rebbe Besula hayis. She says I was a Besula. Amar lehem haviu li yosu sudar. Give me the sudar haviu lo sudar v'shara b'mayim v'kubsu. When he cleaned up the sheet. Umatzalav kama tipi dam, and he found in the sheet the dam. Shahayu tipi hadame mechoisim b'shivcha zera, that the zera was covering up the dam. Since the zera was covering up the dam, therefore it couldn't find the dam, so they cleaned off the shever. Zacha b'mekecha. So therefore here it's not a mechek tos. You got a good deal. Go over this. Mar Bria de Rava Markrid Ravashi Ananami Navid Haki. We should also do it. Amarle Gichus Shalom Kigivus Shalahem. So we need to go all the way to Gichutz, that we can't just do Kivus. Rashi says that their water is Yafim Lekivus. or the samanim is yafin. So therefore they can do the kivus. We need to do gichutz in order to get the same level of kivus. Let's do gichutz, then we'll find it. Ma'averle chumrata. So the chumrata Rashi says that the stone that they're doing the gichutz is like the ironing or the pressing with, that you rub with the stone. That rubbing of the stone will take out the dam as well, and therefore it'll remove everything, and therefore we won't find the dam, and you won't be able to clean up the zera, so it's not going to work here. Rabbi Amar Malay Rabbi Baalti V'lo Matzati Dam Amrele Rebbe Edayin Besula Ani. So she says instead of Besula, Amrele Haveole Shtei Shivchos Echad Besula V'Echad Beula. So give me two Shivchos, one Beula, one Besula. They brought the two and they put them on top of the chavis of Yayin. The Beula, the smell, you could pick up the smell of the wine from her mouth, and the Besula, you couldn't pick up the smell of the wine from her mouth. Therefore, the Beula, the opening in her, the opening of her, was able to perceive it in her breath, in her mouth, so it came through her body somewhat. But the Basula, it was blocked, and therefore it didn't. Afzu sheshiva velo hayareach noidef, and therefore this woman as well, she put her. He did the same test, and then since the didn't come through, therefore he knew that she was a Basula. Amar lo lach zaka b'mekach, go be zaka in your mekach v'nivdok miikara b'gaveyo. So why? V'nivdok miikara. So do the test originally. But gaveya gamra haya shemiale maisa lo haya chazi. So that he had a Kabbalah. So why didn't he do it originally? Since he had a Gemara, he had a Kabbalah to do this test. So why didn't he just check her? He had a Gemara, he had a Kabbalah that he heard, Gemara that he heard. The Maisa he never saw, and he saw her Summer Lo Kimle Gavei de Milte Shapir. That he thought that maybe he wouldn't be able to discern the difference. So he'd heard about this idea, but he never tested it out that he'd be able to do it. So to do the test on Jewish girls is not Urach Ara, it's a mizalzel on them, and then you find besulas, and you're testing them if they're besula or not. So therefore he did on the shivchus. And once he did the test, and he was able to see that he knew what he was doing, so therefore he was able to test her. Amar lo Rabbi Baalti v'lo matzati dam. Amar lo Rebbe, I'm from the family of Durkatiani, she'en lehen lo dam nida v'lo dam besulim. So no nida and no besulim. Badak Raman Gilman B'Karvesi. You've checked out the family, Matzah, that she was telling the truth. Amar lo lech zaka b'mechab kech. So again, this is a good purchase, and it's not a mechab toyas. Ashreiches shezachita lemishpachas Durkati. So that it says you're happy because you married somebody from this family. So my Dorkati, Dor Ketuva, this generation is cut off. Amar Rebbe Chanina, Tanchunim shel Hevel Nechamenu. So he's telling this guy, you got a good deal, you should be happy. It was Tanchunim shel Hevel. It wasn't real what he was saying. Ram Gamaliel la'ota ha'ish. Tani Rebbe Chia Kashem shahashor is Yafa le'isa, just like that. As sourdough, the raising agent is good for dough, so too blood is good for a woman. So that the blood will help raise the belly, because the more the blood, the more babies. The more blood, the more children. So he says that you got a good purchase. That you're mechayiv in your Kenan Rashi al korchacha tekabel. Chayva hava lecha b'mechakecha, so that you have to, you don't want it, but you're still mechayiv to so you're chayiv to take her. That even though you didn't know that she was from this family or whatever, you're still chayiv to take her because she's not. There's no tanis v'sulam. Amorle bishlam alamant amor nechayiv. I knew the Rebbe Chanina. We said before that it's no good for having more babies, and that dam is a good simon for having babies. What is the zuchus? Lo ati lidei safek nida, that you won't come to safek nida. Now the big question here is, why does it say safek nida? that if she won't come to Nida, so therefore he won't have any Isers at all. Since she won't come to Nida, there won't be this Isser of Karis or Suffolk Kari, whatever it is. But what is Suffolk Nida? Deloati, they day Suffolk Nida. So here they say that the if she's a Vadai Nida, so therefore you're Poirish from her. But if she's a Suffolk Nida, so then you'll be Moira Heter, and you'll only have the sin with the Suffolk Nida. You won't sin with the Vadai Nida. So the Suffolk, you won't come to Suffolk Nida and come to sin with her, whereas the Vadai Nida, you won't come to sin with her anyway. Amrle Rebbe Baalti v'lo matzati dam. Amrlo Rebbe adayim b'sula hisi. It was the years of famine, and Rebbe saw that their faces were black, and he commanded them, and he entered them into the bathhouse, and he fed them, and he washed them, and he entered them into the room, and they had beer, and then he found blood. Amrlo, there you go, have you had a good purchase. And Rebbe read the pasuk, Tzfed Oiram al Atzmaham, that their flesh was shriveled on their bones. It was dry like wood, that there was no blood circulation because of the famine. So there are some points that come out from some of those stories, but I'm not doing them right now.